Well, hello, good morning or good afternoon, whenever you're watching this. I thought that I would make a video to explain our two warm-up problems here for you, just like we would in class. And you can download the PDF version of this. It is linked in underneath March 17th here on Google Classroom. You can print it if you have the availability, so you can actually take a look and do these problems on your own paper, or if you can't print, then just go ahead and do them in your notebook. I'm going to give you a minute here to try these two problems. So if you pause the video and take however long you need, I'll be waiting here to explain when you get back. Okay, so assuming you took a minute to try these on your own, I'm going to go through them. Now, both of these problems are regular polygons. So I'm going to do my best to draw here. Keep in mind, this is not the same as my smartboard, so it'll be a little interesting. But what we're going to do for the first problem here is I've got a regular hexagon, and I guess it doesn't say regular, it probably should. But we've got a regular hexagon with a side length of 5 millimeters. So I am just going to draw the triangle that would be at the bottom of that hexagon. Gosh, it's not the best triangle. I wonder if I can just maybe try this again. Just bear with me. Let's see if we can do this a little bit better. All right. Oh, that's going to be a little wobbly. You know what? I'm going to be super professional. You guys are learning with me, or you're seeing me learn as we go here. I guess I have a line tool here. We're going to see. I haven't tried this, so let's see how this goes. Much better. All right. So the one thing we are going to keep in mind here is that this is just the base triangle of a hexagon. So we're going to keep in mind that the number of our sides here equals 6. We would have 6 triangles like this. And we know that the side length of this is 5 millimeters. So we're going to go ahead and label that 5 millimeters. I love that this pen just goes wild. Okay, one other thing we need, in order to find the area of this triangle, we need to use a perpendicular height to that base. So there's my perpendicular height, and that's our apothem. We don't know what the measure of it is, but we know that if we have the base of 5, we can figure out what that apothem is, and we would have the height. So the one thing we always say with these regular polygons is we have to know the measure of the central angle. So remember that in order to do that, we're going to take 360 divided by the number of sides, which would be 6. We get 60 degrees for the central angle, which means that this whole angle right here is 60, which means just this part of it right here is 30. So I actually have nice 30, 60, 90 triangles. I know that the short side down here is half of my side length, that is 5, so I would have 2.5 there. That's nice. It can't do a nice little decimal point without doing a crazy line, so there you go. So 2.5 for that side. If that's my short leg, then in order to get to the long leg of the apothem here, I would have to multiply by root 3. So my apothem is actually equal to 2.5 times the square root of 3. Like I said, it doesn't like to do a decimal, so there we are. It kind of looks like, like rock stars, like, in their bands. They always have crazy fonts. That's kind of what it looks like. So that's what we're doing today. All right, so the apothem of 2.5 root 3. Then in order to take the area of my regular polygon, we would do side length times apothem divided by 2, and we're going to multiply that by the number of sides. So it looks like I have everything. I don't really have a ton of room to list it all out, so hopefully you're okay with this is my side right here. We have apothem, we have n. Okay, so my side length here is 5. My apothem is 2.5. Oh gosh, this is really not looking pretty. 5, I'll just do a parenthesis, times 2.5 root 3 divided by 2 times our number of sides, which is 6. And if I wanted to do this in simplest radical form, then I would just kind of ignore this root 3 for a second. In my calculator here, I'm just going to multiply out 5 times 2.5. I'm going to divide that by 2, and then I'm going to multiply it by 6. And I got 37.5 root 3, and that would be millimeters squared in this lovely font that we have. All right. If you wanted to do that in radical form, that would just be 64.95. So my approximate answer, 64.95 millimeters squared. Sorry that this is all kind of squeezed in to this tiny little space here. I'm working on a PDF, just like you, so I don't really have a whole lot of wiggle room. But those would be my answers for the area of that. Now, second one is a little bit harder because I have a regular pentagon. So if I do the same thing and I find my central angle here, I would be doing 360 divided by 5. 360 divided by 5 gives us 72, which means that this 1/2 of this angle would be 36, which means I have to use trig. So basically it says it's giving us the radius. That's our hypotenuse in this case. And I need to find two things. I need to find the side length here, which, you know, with respect to this 36-degree angle, if I'm just finding part of that side length right here, that would be the opposite. I know the hypotenuse is 18. And I also need the adjacent side over here because I need my my apothem. So we're going to have to do two trig functions for this. If I want to find the opposite side here using the hypotenuse, then I'm going to have to do the sine of 36. There's going to be a lot of little mishaps like this. I hope you're okay with that. The sine of 36 is equal to the opposite side here over 18. Making sure we're in degree mode, I type in 18 times the sine of 36. And I get that that opposite side right here, I'll label it down here, is, well, I'll label it here, I guess, 10.58, because I want to actually label the whole side length. So I'm going to multiply that, unrounded in my calculator, multiply that by 2, and I get 21.16 for that whole side length. So let's go ahead and list that out over here. Side length, 21.16. Now we have to find the apothem. We know, I just can't get a decimal. There we go. We know our number of sides is 5. So we need to find the apothem. So in order to find that, my adjacent side using the hypotenuse, I'm going to do the cosine of 36 is equal to adjacent over hypotenuse. So again, we're still in degree mode. So 18 times the cosine of 36 is giving me 14.56. Okay, 14.56. Now, what I'm doing in my calculator right now, since I have these two, unknown decimals here, they kind of go on forever. What I'm doing in my calculator right now is that 18 sine of 36, I'm storing that as alpha s in my calculator, the unrounded version of that. And then the 14.56 here that I got, the 18 times cosine 36 value, I'm going to go ahead and store that as alpha a for apothem. So the unrounded version of this is now in my calculator. So what I'm going to do is just in my calculator, I'm going to go ahead and do S times A, since I have them stored, divided by 2. And then I'm going to multiply it by my number of sides, which is 5, since I have a pentagon. So in my calculator, using the fraction feature, you don't have to if you just kind of make sure you're doing your operations in the right order. S times A divided by 2 times 5. So for the area here, I'm getting 385.17788, so on. So it's 0.18 if we're going to round to 2 decimal places, and that would be in feet squared. Okay, so kind of a long video to explain those two problems, but you know the area of regular polygon stuff is what we've been working on quite a bit. So that is the warm-up that is hopefully helpful. What you're going to do for today is you're going to work on these book review problems. Again, this is on the PDF that's attached to the lesson for today. So you're going to work on these. They aren't due today. You are going to attach them tomorrow. We'll go over some answers for that and do a couple more practice problems. So really your biggest thing that you have to turn in today is homework 17 and 18. Make sure you do that under the appropriate tabs that are below. We've submitted things on Google Classroom before, so just do the same thing here. Go to homework 17, list it out below, attach pictures of your homework. Same thing with 18, and make sure all of your Khan Academy is done. We had 5 assignments for this chapter, and some people still have those last 2 to do. So if you could make sure that you go on and do those, that would be fantastic. All right, I hope you're having a wonderful day. Check in if you need anything on Google Chat.